It's the first of the month. You wake up, sit at the end of the bed and open your phone and refresh. You refresh again and you refresh again until the day has finally come. You've been paid. Roll out the red carpet, boys, because we're in for a couple of weeks of eating out and intimate dates with my Amazon delivery man. 14 days later, you're in the kitchen asking yourself, how did I find myself in this situation again? I guess it's rice and beans till the end of the month. In all seriousness, though it might not be as dramatic as this, you might start beginning to think that it's near impossible to save money in your 20s. Never mind build wealth. The truth is your 20s are actually some of your best years. Actually, they are probably the best years of your life to start accumulating wealth for the rest of your life in a risk-free way. And I'm not going to tell you that you have to give up on your nights out or Amazon deliveries or outrageously priced brunches, right? Because we all love that kind of stuff. We can actually have a lot of fun doing this in the process. Once we follow some core and really simple rules that will take minimal effort for you and don't cost you any money. In fact, they'll actually make you lots of money, so that's good. Let's make this as simple and as specific as possible so you know exactly what to do when this video ends. We're going to be talking about 7 lessons learned from what is regarded as one of the best wealth management books of all time, The Richest Man of Babylon. Some of the wealthiest people in the world still refer to this book and its timeless lessons, but let's try and distill them to a more modern day, iPad friendly, TikTok generation and gender neutral setting. If you like and appreciate this kind of content and want to learn more about how we can live happier, richer and more productive lives, do feel free to subscribe to this channel. My name is Darragh. Let's get into it. Okay, lesson number 1. The secret to building wealth is to save 10%. Or as Darragh would say, start fattening thy purse. Now, Darragh is the main character in the book, Richest Man of Babylon, in case you were wondering. So, have you ever wondered why some of your friends are really good at acquiring extra funds, right, in comparison to some others? Is it because they're really thrifty and they stuff all their money into a Revolut vault or a savings account, while others just spend it on Jaeger bombs on a Saturday night in the nightclub? To become wealthy, you must not just hoard your money, but you must also know how to use it wisely. Of course, the first thing you need to do is you need to save up money, okay? Whatever skills you currently have or whatever you're doing to earn some income, start by saving 10% of that income every single month, year or week, whatever you get paid in. Whatever it is you do for a living, just put 10% of that salary into a savings account and do not touch it. You will barely notice it's gone. Personally, I actually found this really difficult to do at the start, but once I got paid, I put in 10% of my money into a savings account. I then divvied out the rest of whatever I had left for my expenses and rent. And thereafter, whatever chunk I had left was what I had to live with for the rest of the month, and I managed this fine. This leads us on to lesson 2, which is keeping your expenses low. Or as Darragh would say, control thy expenditures. Obviously, to save up money to invest, you can't just spend everything you earn, okay? Therefore, you must live slightly below your means. The hardest thing for our generation seems to be living below our means. And trust me, I am probably the worst culprit for that. To begin with, you know, I thought that I was going to have to give up what I love, which is going out to a cafe, buying an outrageously priced flat white, and maybe buying a mozzarella and basil sandwich. Now, I thought that if I were to start building wealth, I would have to give up on all of these things entirely. That's not true, right? After working through my monthly budget, I was actually able to move some stuff around to make room for some of these guilty pleasures that I had while still saving 10% of everything I earned. What I'd recommend for you to do is just take a hard look of what's coming in and out of your bank account every single month. See if there's anything within it that you can actually cut yourself and won't make you lose the will to live. The last thing you want to be doing in this instance is feel like you are drastically sacrificing something in your life, because that will lead you to resent what you're doing with saving, and that relationship between you and your finances and habits won't end up prospering, and you'll just end up falling down and not saving your 10%. So make sure you work this around you for what you are comfortable with. Now, there are some great apps to help you monitor your saving, like Emma, Monzo, Revolut, etc. Use them to monitor what goes in and what goes out. Saving up money in this way will definitely allow you to have a chunk of change to fall back on. But it is not sufficient enough to become wealthy. To become wealthy, you must also seek out investment opportunities. Now this leads us to lesson 3. Lesson 3 is invest what you save, or as Darragh would say, make thy gold multiply. Don't just work for money to afford things you want today. Make long-term investments where your money starts to work for you. What do you think the difference is between making money and attaining wealth? Making money describes a process where you work for money, but attaining wealth means being in circumstances where you are making money in your sleep. Making money is usually done to achieve some sort of financial success. You usually only care about the things that you want to buy for the next paycheck. But what if your future paycheck doesn't come the next time around? There is an inherent danger in this kind of thinking. Attaining wealth, on the other hand, involves much longer term goals. Robert Kiyosaki, he wrote one of the best financial books I've ever read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he talks about this very simply, about you need to attain assets in your life as opposed to liabilities. Liabilities are things that don't make you wealthier in the long run. Assets are things that are. For instance, a car won't make you money in the long run. A house with the income of the rent and the value of the property will. Now, by investing in these interest-generating assets, you'll grow your wealth by not only accumulating what is your initial investment, but also compounding the interest of that principal amount over a long period of time. Einstein called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. The sooner you start compounding your money, the more money you'll make once payday comes. Let's do a really quick and realistic example of this. Okay, let's do an example. All you need to do is, spelling is awful. God, the pressure of the camera is getting to me. All you need to do is just get a compound interest calculator online. Let's say you're 25 years old now, for simplicity, and you want to save around €300 a month, and that month is going to accumulate 1% monthly interest, which would be quite a lot. But let's say this happens over 10 years. So you want to invest €300 a month, okay? So you have zero at the start. You want a 1% monthly interest in whatever you're investing in. We'll talk about investments shortly. And you're going to do this for 10 years. You're compounding over a 12-month interval, and every month you're putting in an extra €300, okay? So those will compound over a long period of time. So let's see how much money we'll have at the end of those 10 years. You'll have over €69,000, having only invested €36,000. So you've doubled your money, basically, more or less, because you've left it in there for 10 years with a really good interest rate. Now, 1% might be quite a high interest rate, but all I'm trying to do is just demonstrate the power of compound interest in this kind of thing. You really do need to invest your money to accumulate wealth, because doubling my money here was done without me doing any work apart from putting in my initial investment, and that's time really, really well spent. And by the time I'm 35 with this extra €30,000, get ready to start spending my money on nappies and elegant cheeses. Now, moving on to the next point, as Rocky once said, investments ain't all sunshine and rainbows. You also have to protect your investments and your assets. Lesson number 4 is to protect your investments from loss, or as Darragh would say, guard thy treasures from loss. The secret is to always admit how little you know, and this is actually something that is much easier said than done. Do you consider yourself to be a knowledgeable person or even a wise person? If so, the idea behind the financial market is that it tends to give you quite a shock. The Stoics taught us that true wisdom lies in realizing how very little we actually know and admitting that, right? Don't fool yourself into thinking you suddenly know a lot from watching one investing video, but instead pause for a second to look around. Most people unfortunately fail to realize how little they know, especially in the field of finance, and what's worse, they actually tend to charge ahead completely with a small knowledge base without pausing to consider all areas in which they are maybe a little bit ignorant. The danger here is one mistake can cost you a lot of money, or if not all of your money. You need to entrust your wealth in the correct places by doing your own due diligence in the correct places. If that's impossible for you to do because you don't understand it, or maybe you might be a bit lazy like me, you need to seek advice with people who do have knowledge in that area. More importantly, actually, people that have knowledge in the area but have your best interest at heart. The world is constantly changing, especially financially. This means you can never just put all of your wealth into one building strategy or like investing in just one stock. The financial system and life itself is very uncertain, so sooner or later something massive will happen, like a stock market collapse or a financial collapse or the housing market blowing up completely. This means you have to adopt to new experimenting with various different strategies and probably failing in a few in the meantime. And just, as you find your next winning strategy, something huge might happen. Spread your wealth across many different asset classes to protect yourself using the law of averages. This is one of the ways you can sail through the next lesson, which is lesson 5. Lesson 5 is to ensure a future income. This kind of long-term planning can help provide security for really unexpected events and times of need. Generally, this boils down to the traditional save for your retirement, but personally, I think this point is actually a little bit dated because I think our generation is a generation that won't necessarily look at retirement the same way that maybe our parents looked at retirement. Back in the day, they worked 9-to-5 jobs, which, let's be honest, they didn't particularly like, and retirement was something to work towards come a later date. Nowadays, with the popular work culture, people are very focused on doing what they love. And why stop working if you're absolutely loving what you're doing? Why not have that, reason to get up in the morning? Now, don't get me wrong, retirement funds are really good for tax breaks, and they still should be invested in, but I don't plan on retiring if I'm loving what I'm doing at the same time. Yes, I may take more time off and maybe take things a little bit less seriously and spend more time with my grandkids, but the idea of losing a sense of purpose is what sparks complete chaos in my own mind. So let's rephrase our way of thinking here for a second. Ensuring future income isn't about saving for your retirement. Maybe it is for when you're old and feeble, but maybe it's for a time in your life where you might need a career break or something tragic happens and you might not be able to work anymore. This makes me feel personally much better about putting money away for a long-term hold, because if you are lucky, this time may never come and you might have a massive pot of money that you might never need and you might be able to spend on something that you wouldn't have considered before. Because this is a long-term hold, use what Einstein called the 8th wonder of the world, compound interest, to really start generating money through that wealth and to secure that future income for you. The real key to this is to not touch the money until you need it, right? If you never need it, great, you're lucky. You've clearly not gone through a time in your life where you really struggled financially. It's a really small price to pay for peace of mind, right? Investing in your pension or some tax-free retirement account, or what we chatted about earlier, will provide you with the cash that your family can live off or your future generations can live off if you didn't need it. Lesson number 6 is a little bit of a controversial one, but it's to become luckier. Now, opportunity is a source of good luck, which, unlike chance, may be pushed to occur more frequently. How would you define luck? Right? Many people think of luck as sense of random serendipitous events, right? So they rarely think that it can be influenced by themselves. Imagine you are playing a golf tournament and you've practiced hard for months and you've prepared, an awful lot by practicing in the rain in the depths of winter. And in the end, you win the competition, right? By sinking a 20-foot putt for birdie. Do you think this is pure luck that I sunk that putt? Or was it coincidental luck, serendipitous luck? Or do you think it was luck that I brought to my own favor? When people talk about random luck, they're talking about chance, right? Chance implies something random and non-influenceable. Is that even a word? Non-influenceable, you understand the gist, happening, right? Like winning the lottery or being struck by lightning, right? We don't really influence that kind of stuff. Actual luck means to be distinguished from chance because luck is not truly random. Instead, people work hard and they earn luck. So how can you make yourself become luckier? Well, in the sense of investing anyway. Simply, it's by being constantly looking out for investment opportunities to increase your wealth. Don't let them go by. Hard work, vigilance, and willingness to seize the opportunity is what separates the lucky from the unlucky. So always be looking out for investment opportunities. Don't let them pass you by. Okay, point 7, we're just going to round up everything. So the key message in this video to becoming wealthy. Number 1 is to live below your means and to save money. Save 10% of everything you earn and invest part of it in a way that generates interest for you. You must also understand that you can earn yourself luck by working hard and seizing opportunities bravely. Right, here are some actionables that you can do in the next 7 days. Try and live below your means and save what you don't spend. Don't take on debt to buy some luxury item like the newest iPhone if you really don't need it, because once you find yourself in this unnecessary debt, it's very hard to get out of it, right? If you really do desperately want it, need it, but can't really afford it, just try and save up to buy it instead.
Apologies everyone, the last video got a little bit corrupted at the end, so we're just going to finish it up here. Next up, we really want to try and invest what we earn, but it's very important that we invest wisely in what we earn. So whatever you earn, don't spend all of it at once, okay? That's the main thing. Save a part of it, for example, and put it into stocks and bonds, right? This way the money will start working for you, and that's really, really the key here, is that it starts generating interest for you. Now, you do need to make sure that you invest this wisely. Don't trust like a novice or some person that doesn't really know what they're doing with their hard-earned savings. No matter how attractive an opportunity seems, all get-rich-quick schemes are getting other people rich and they're making you losses, okay? That's always going to be the case for a get-rich-quick scheme, except for crypto. Now, speaking of which, in all seriousness, cryptocurrency is something that I have a little bit of my wealth locked into, and I'm really, really excited about it. Lots of people are probably hearing about this market now, and they're finding drips and drabs here online, but they're not really getting a full picture as to what it is to be investing in crypto, and they maybe feel a little bit of FOMO. If you are one of those people, you will definitely want to check up my introduction to cryptocurrency series up here that goes through, you know, all there is to know about investing in cryptocurrency for beginners. And it's the introduction that I wish I had when I started investing in crypto 4 years ago. Other than that, guys, we will leave it there for this video. I hope you got as much value out of that as I did making it. We'll see you in the next one. Slán.